call a spade if your meal planning routine is messier than your kitchen junk drawer, or even less effective than those New Year's resolutions. Is this thing on? That's a clear as day sign that it's time to switch it up, because Pinterest perfection ain't gonna feed your family. But common sense cooking will, which some people are calling recession cooking, but I call it smart cooking. It's time to break things off. So stop it with the one night random recipes. Woman, you deserve commitment. Which is why you don't find one hit wonder meals in my kitchen. And you know exactly what I mean. Those recipes that call for ingredients that you'll only use once and then they'll linger in the back of your fridge for months or you'll never see them again. Welcome to strategic cooking with fewer than 20 ingredients and a printable grocery list with recipe cards and meal prep steps that actually make sense. And if you're already on my grocery guide list, this is sitting in your inbox. That's right, your list with every in-season fruit and veggie, your complete meal sequence, and step-by-step prep. All you gotta do is watch, print, and tuck in your recipe box or binder. Actually, this is so simple, you could probably meal prep with me. And if you don't have that guide, click on the link and grab it now. Now, this video is the follow-up to my full week dinner plan. You know, the one where I showed you how to eat for a week for under $100 with meals that take less than 30 minutes and won't leave your kitchen with a pile full of dishes? So today we're going to be walking through the breakfast and lunches that build on that very same foundation. So this complements the dinner meal sequence that so many of y'all shared was your eureka moment. So you're going to see how I plug and play ingredients that you and I have already prepped. And we're going to mix and match and remix them into easy meals that are going to give you hearty lunch bowls, deli-worthy wraps, and upgrades to your favorite breakfast staples that fill you up and fuel your workday. Now, you can follow this plan exactly or use it as a blueprint. So swap things out, make it yours. You're still going to end up in the ballpark. Like, that is the point. That's exactly why this works. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what's for breakfast and lunch every day this week with zero stress, no extra mess. So grab your apron and let's get to it. All right, y'all, so just like in the dinner recipes, I rely on fridge bins to make meal prep easy. So for me, in my fridge, breakfast ingredients are gonna get their own basket outside of like the normal circulation that I need. But in your fridge, it might be that they get their own shelf. And then the lunches are going to be prepped ahead or they're going to be coming from leftovers. Because let's be real, ain't nobody got time to be cooking from scratch every morning, a weekday morning. And I don't love making breakfast, but I do love having breakfast done. In my world, this is how I'm envisioning things.
I just want to wake up every morning and grind my beans in my antique coffee grinder.
And then make my coffee in my French press and pick a mug off my wall that's speaking to me that morning. And then open the fridge door and have everything come together in 5 minutes with a mess that I don't have to come home to. And these recipes do exactly that. So let's start with the 9, maybe 10 ingredients that you're gonna need for breakfast this week. First up are strawberries, and these beauties aren't sweet, they are also vitamin C powerhouses. That's right, strawberries not only boost immunity, but they are collagen powerhouses. Plus, they're very easy to grow at home because they thrive in pots or even in small garden beds. And when you grow them at home, you get the freshest berries for minimal effort. Did I say you toss your strawberry trays? If you bought your strawberries like I did, do not throw away these containers because these could be a scrap collector bin through the week for your compost pile or to make your veggie broth. They're excellent visible storage for sorting your batteries. And I use them in my classroom for cable management of the cords because look, like it just goes in one side and out the other. But we're actually gonna put these to immediate use because the breakfast and lunch ideas I have are grab and go. And so instead of using plastic bags that you have to buy, well, you know, like I do buy them, but I'm also like each year I try to do like more reusable plastic bags and storage containers, but I'm not 100% there yet. But I do stretch out what I buy because I'm not grabbing my own plastic bags. I'm going to store them in these crates and then toss it. You're also going to need spinach, which is in season and at its absolute best taste this time of year. And spinach is the green that you need for iron, energy, and vibrant health. It's also super easy to grow in containers, and I grow tons of this in my green stalks. And a benefit of growing your greens is that they never go bad on you, right? Like out of my green stalks, I have greens that are staying fresh for weeks until, you know, like the summer heat comes. But one thing that I do after I harvest and rinse them is I store them in a bag with a linen towel. And that's because spinach is very high in moisture and even more so after you rinse it. And even the smallest
smallest amount of moisture can speed up wilting or sliminess or decay. But if you took a linen or a cotton towel inside, it's going to act as a moisture barrier. And it's going to pull out that excess humidity without drying your leaves out. And this here trick will keep your spinach fresh for at least a week and sometimes a little bit more. Now what I do is maybe like every 2 days, I'll just take this out and then add a clean one to the other side. Next up, you're going to need some honey, and this golden goodness does more than sweeten your meals. Honey is antibacterial, and it is also packed with antioxidants. So honestly, I maintain 2 types of honey. So the first type is raw honey that's from regional beekeepers in my area. So like the DMV, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. And then I only use that honey when it's not going to be in a heated recipe, because like the bees in your area are calibrated to like, you know, the ecosystem, and they help with allergies and all that jazz. But also, because that honey is priced at a premium, as it should be, there's sometimes when I want to use honey and, you know, not sugar or anything else. And so Aldi has been my go-to, y'all. They have raw honey. I mean, I don't know how to vet it much more beyond that, but I want to say that for a pound, so for 8 ounces, it's under $6. And, you know, I can do that. And this isn't going in the fridge bin because I wanted to stay, you know, pourable. Next up, you're going to need some bananas, which are nature's energy bars. Bananas are packed with potassium, which is excellent for muscle health and mood boosting. And they're a natural prebiotic that you don't have to buy in a bottle. Now, the greener they are, the more of that prebiotic benefit that you get, but still there. You're also going to need chia seeds, which are tiny nutritional giants that deliver omega-3s and fiber. And they're also great for sustaining energy and regulating blood sugar. Now, stocking up on these in bins gives you the best value, but Aldi has a very competitive price. This is their store brand and they're organic. Now look at here, y'all. You get 5 grams of protein per serving and then 8 grams of fiber per serving. A little goes a long way with these. And next, you're going to need some rolled old-fashioned oats. And I just grabbed them off my top shelf here. I am so thankful that the woman who had this house before us did that, because that is like real storage space, right? Like those are cupboards that I don't have, right? That I'm using. I just love smart design like that, especially in smaller spaces. Because let me tell you, I have been in some big kitchens, like my parents' house. Well, I mean, their kitchen isn't like super huge, but it's bigger than mine. But it's the design elements, right? Where my mom is actually like, no, you have better storage space and even more surface space to cook than what she does. Y'all know that I love anything oatmeal because it is a breakfast staple that sticks to your ribs. Because I cannot do cutesy breakfast because I'll be hungry an hour later. Plus, oats are budget friendly and it ensures that you always have a nutritional base on hand. You're also going to need some Greek yogurt. Whatever type you prefer is fine. Now, Greek yogurt is protein packed and it's a fermented food that supports gut health thanks to its live active cultures. Another ingredient that we're going to use is granola, and mine is right there. And last is some of the bacon and the boiled eggs. Now, the bacon and the boiled eggs are from the Cobb salad that we set aside from our dinner recipe sequence. And that is the point. These meals are speaking to each other. Now, come on now. You know you can do this. Now we're going to prep our lunch bin, which is actually using a lot of the base ingredients from our dinner bin. I know. If you haven't seen that video, you're like, oh, well, you've got to watch it. Yes, these meals are talking to each other, and that's exactly what you want. But if you've already watched that video, this job is already done. So in addition to that, we're just going to add a few more things. And the first thing you're going to need are noodles for a noodle bowl that we're making. Now, I'm using a combination of noodles. I often do that, and you should try it too. So first up, I'm going to be using some soba or buckwheat noodles. And soba noodles are a really great source of protein. There's 9 grams in here per serving. They're also an excellent source of magnesium for strong muscles and steady nerves. They're very easy to digest if you have some of those issues, and they're just a delicious, filling pantry staple. Now, they are a little bit more expensive than your regular noodles, which is why I stock up on my shelf-stable Asian food products like the soba noodles and the ramen noodles that we're about to use in a second. Doreen, it's like the Chinese New Year, so each month I'll kind of tell you what the sale cycles will be. And so normally these are on sale $1 to maybe like 40% off, 50% off. It's like late January through early February. Now, if you need to go gluten-free, you can absolutely use rice ramen. And these are a combination of organic millet and brown rice ramen. Sorry, let me try that again. Organic millet and brown rice ramen. And then y'all, I am not keto, but my dad is mostly keto-ish, and then so is my brother at this time. But one of the things that I have tried and am really enjoying, and I was super surprised now that Aldi is starting to offer them, is these Palm of Hearts. It is a keto pasta replacement that is delicious. My family actually raves about liking this better than the spaghetti squash. I love spaghetti squash, and I cook it right. You can easily overcook spaghetti squash, right? That's not even the problem. I like the spaghetti squash is a little bit sweeter, but this is also very convincing. It is made out of sliced Palm of Hearts. It looks like pasta, very kind of like neutral flavor. But I think it's the texture probably in your mouth. But sometimes what I'll do is just combine even like regular pasta with this. Because again, it is a bit pricier, and I'm just trying to sometimes reduce the carb load and then inject more vegetables, more fiber. You're also going to need some cream cheese, and you can use this as a spread. Now, this ingredient is optional, but it's crumbled cheese or just any kind of cheese that you have. I really like goat cheese, whether it's like the spreadable kind or crumbled or feta, that kind of thing, especially because, the time of the year that we're in and we're eating more salad. So, cheese. We're going to add in some more spring flavors by tossing in some frozen peas. And I still had these two little bags that were hanging out in the freezer because remember March, in March's Pantry Chat, we were talking about that month being Frozen Food Month. And I love Frozen Food Month because what I actually do is I'll get a lot of those foods that are considered like freezer foods. No, they're not. You can go ahead and make them shelf stable. And so we did all that in March. But I do like my peas to either be frozen so that they have that bite, or I will dehydrate them or freeze dry them. Now I'm gonna go ahead and toss these peas into our meal prep bin only because I'm getting ready to make them, but if not, just keep them in the freezer. You're also gonna need some type of wrap. So these are just the keto wraps. My dad was just up a couple of weeks ago, and so I had some of these left over, so I'm gonna go ahead and use those up. And then nuts, I'm using cashew nuts, which are completely optional. You just need some type of dressing. I normally do make my own dressings. I like doing that, and I have time today. But if not, I also keep shelf-stable backups. But yeah, we're gonna be making a cashew dressing. That's it.
So there you've got it. You've just meal prepped for breakfast and lunch this week. Now let's bring it all together.
Now tell the truth, if your mornings have started to feel as flat as day-old soda, I've got something that'll put the sparkle back.
You need a strawberry and spinach compote that you batch prep once. And this week, this is a make once, use everywhere kind of recipe. And a compote is basically like a soft fruit cooked topping mix-in. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. It's like jam's low maintenance chill cousin. But unlike jam, it is not preserved and it's not thickened with pectin. So it's meant to be made and stored short term in the fridge and then eaten over the next couple of days. And believe me, you're gonna wanna use this over oatmeal, parfaits, toast, pancakes. Now let me grab my fridge bin. You're gonna pull out your spinach. And these are the strawberries that I diced up earlier, but you can absolutely use frozen. So if you used fresh strawberries like I did, do not toss the tops. I keep a worm bin. They are super low maintenance, and that's how I have a continuous supply of worm castings or manure for my garden for free, y'all. And they love strawberries. Like, they're gonna treat this like a spa day. I absolutely love adding strawberries to my worm bin first because they are super hydrating and they're full of sugar, so they're gonna break down fast. And this is what keeps my worm bin thriving and my garden fed. So yeah, that's right. Even the scraps earn their keep around here. So you're gonna place a pot over low heat and then grab your spinach. I mean, you could use a knife and chop this up. I'm just going to use my hands. But you're just gonna break it down like this. Like so. I feel like my spinach season is coming to an end as the temps are starting to regulate here in like the 80s. But yeah, I'm gonna add tons of spinach. And then next you're gonna dump in your strawberries. Oh my goodness, taking off the lid, they smelled so sweet.
And then you're just gonna go ahead and drizzle with a bit of honey. The amount really just depends on the sweetness that you want to use, which is why I love this recipe. And now we're just going to gently saute this until the fruit is soft. Now listen, if strawberries and spinach aren't your thing, don't scroll past this idea. A compote is just soft fruits and veggies that you can scoop onto anything. So go back to the grocery guide I gave you, because maybe your combination is going to be blueberries and zucchini. And oh yeah, that's a good one. I want to do that one next. Or apples and carrots, or even cherries and kale. So I totally get it if you're like, Cassandra, maybe not that combination. But there is one out there for you. So while this cooks down, I have just enough time to peel my eggs. Now, do not toss your eggshells, especially for the price we're paying these days, because, so actually this week I'm going to be transplanting some of my tomatoes out in the garden. And so your tomatoes love calcium and your eggshells are packed full of them. And then also back to my wormy friends. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of these eggshells to my strawberry top mixture. So it turns out that worms actually need eggshells just like chickens do. And that's because the grit helps them to chew their food, for lack of a better word, since worms don't have teeth. And as a bonus, it's going to add calcium back into my soil. All right, so now you're going to take your boiled eggs and you're just going to cut them in half. And we're going to take some of that bacon from yesterday's Cobb salad and place that on your cutting board. And I've grabbed some of the sweet potatoes from our dinner meal prep bin. I mean, I truly just have a few of these little medallion-shaped sweet potatoes left, and I want to go ahead and use them for this recipe. And grab the carton that I told you to save earlier. Just washed it with some soap and water, and now I need to dry it off. You're going to need some skewers for this assembly, and that is it. And basically what these are breakfast kebabs. If I wasn't adding the potato, they would be keto, but I love these. So you're just going to go ahead and take your egg, and we're going to go ahead and put that through. And so you have a complete protein here from your egg. Then we're going to add a little bit of sweetness, especially with sweet potatoes. It kind of acts as like the syrup. It adds that touch of sweetness, but you're going to get all that vitamin C. And then we're going to add on our bacon for that savory flavor. These are delicious. And then we're just going to go back and add another sweet potato. And then another piece of the egg. And we're done, right? This is the breakfast skewer. Then place your fully assembled skewer in your container. Okay, so ask me how I know. Do not tell your family that you just made these for tomorrow morning's breakfast, because they will be gone. But I love these as treats, especially as like commuter food if you need like a commuter friendly breakfast, because I will have my cup of coffee in one hand and then this will be like seated on my lap in the car, and then all you have to do is just like take these and then just like put the whole thing in your mouth. They're so good. They're gonna fill you up and they're just such treats. Plus, I already cooked the sweet potatoes. Oh, here it is. I have one left. So at the bottom of this bag, like you can see, that's just some of like the bacon grease that I had originally cooked my sweet potatoes in. Oh my gosh. So they already taste amazing. And so you're probably wondering, hold on. You are probably wondering, okay guys, so you don't waste anything in your kitchen. What is happening to this bacon fat? Let me tell you all about it. So this is about to become, I don't know, I don't have real names for this stuff because it's just like me in my kitchen doing what I do. These are going to be fat bombs. And so you are going to take this extra fat, and normally, like, you know, actually, I'm getting kind of low on my bacon grease. But I'll pour it, you know, in here, in a jar, put it in the fridge, that kind of thing.
But then sometimes when I just have like the fat left over, sister girl, this has another life left in it. There is still so much flavor that's here. So I'll just put it in these little jars here. Like, I don't know, about that much. And then if I think that I can go ahead and like get ready to use it within the week, I will. But if not, I will just put them in the freezer and then take out this bacon fat. And then when I go to cook, hold on y'all, I'm getting ahead of myself and I need to wipe my jars off. But then as I go to cook, I will pull these out of the freezer or the fridge and then like pop it into my cast iron pan, and it infuses all of that flavor. And then sometimes, depending on what I cook, I will scoop it up again, put it back in this jar, throw it back in the pot a day or two later, depending on what I'm making. And I'm telling you, you get that bacon infused flavor in there that is just irresistible. All right, that's that. Let me put these in the fridge. All right, y'all. So essentially our compote is done. But if you're looking at this thinking, Cassandra, my family ain't going for that. And neither would mine. Thank goodness for an immersion blender. So now this looks like a rich berry sauce, and it is, but it's got fresh spinach blended right in. Oh, Lucy in the back is not convinced. Hold on, girl. Hold on. Now, of course, you don't have to add spinach in here, but it's the easiest way to sneak in nutrients. Plus, just wait till I assemble things. Grab a funnel and your mason jars. And now we're going to create our parfaits by adding a layer of our berry sauce to the bottom. And then to that, we're going to spoon in our yogurt. And now we're going to layer with some fresh strawberries. Okay, Lucy, what are you thinking now? Now, to be clear, I love Lucy, but do you see how things really start to come together in this nutrient-dense parfait? So what I like to do is I will then just take these reusable lids, put the lid on top, and leave it like this in the fridge overnight. It's just gonna settle maybe a little bit more, but like the flavor is there. It's still creamy. I mean, these keep really well in the fridge. But then what I'll do in the morning, I have found that I don't mind, like if I add whole flax seeds, they're still crunchy in the morning. But then all I'm going to do, like right before I head out the door, is just take some of my granola and I will sprinkle a little bit of this on top. And then essentially what happens is you're just gonna mix all the ingredients together and you have a wonderful parfait. These are just like this time of year. I love parfaits, especially as the mornings start to get hot. The Greek yogurt is high protein, so it's gonna keep you full. And then for me, really focusing on adding vegetables even to breakfast has become a thing because there's no way to really get your daily allowance, you know, like whatever that is, but like every meal I can fold in vegetables, including breakfast. And so, y'all, this is good. It's so good. And you don't even taste the spinach. All right, I need to calm myself down and stop eating this so I have some left for tomorrow. Let me put these in the fridge. All right, so that was breakfast number 1. Well, technically number 2. But now we're gonna move into a berry and banana baked oatmeal. Now, if the only thing you're adding to your oatmeal is butter and sugar, you know you can do better. But isn't that the great thing about oatmeal? I mean, you can really lean it in any kind of direction. And I'm not kidding when I say this. The combination of everything we're adding to this oatmeal is like a mini multivitamin. The ingredients that we're using in this recipe are excellent for your brain and your blood sugar and your mood. All right, let's get down to business. So grab your cast iron pan. Into that I'm adding, this is a quart, so 4 cups of oatmeal. And next we're gonna add 2 very ripe bananas. Save those banana peels, people. Welcome to the future. It's about 2 days later and we're gonna use these peels. And we're gonna dehydrate these peels for 2 very awesome reasons. You will never toss out a peel again,
But you are going to need a dehydrator. Now look at this peel. You can tell that this banana was very ripe when I went to use it. And you can only call me a lie until after you've tried it. But as this dehydrates, your entire house is going to smell exactly like banana bread. Now see, I just saved you 25 bucks on a fancy candle. And I know that everybody raves about banana peel tea. But have you made that stuff? Yeah, I did, and I wasn't too impressed because you have to set it outside and cover it. And then you start having like fruit flies around it, and then you have to like drain the water off. It was too much. So I said to myself, surely you can dehydrate these peels. They'll dry on you, and then I just use my blender and I crush them into a powder. Then I have it in a shelf-stable form and sprinkle it on my garden. And now you're gonna add a cup of your berry compote. And now we're going to add about a 1/4 cup of our chia seeds. So I actually already had some in my upstairs reserve. So I'm going to put these in my basement pantry. I'm going to eyeball it like I normally do. Then you're going to pour in about 3 cups of milk. You just want things to be hydrated. 2 eggs. And now we're going to season with a little bit of cinnamon and some homemade vanilla extract. All right, and now let's go ahead and just mash everything together. Don't you love those meals that come together in the pan? There's gonna be no cleanup after this. I mean, what I will likely do is then we're gonna place this in the oven to bake. And then once it cools, I will slice it into, slices and go ahead and portion it out for the rest of the week. But I mean, it's just been one pan. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and bake this at like 380 for like 30 to 35 minutes until it's done in the center. Baked oatmeal really does feel like a dessert. It's this combination of like a pie with so much flavor. So one thing about this recipe is that you have the undertones of it's like banana bread with the sweetness of this fruity mixture. I mean, this is sweet. It is savory. I do not taste the chia seeds that are in here at all, even though they're adding protein. And I love having a breakfast meal that is ready to go. So what I've done, I've gone ahead and I like slice this like a pie. And then you can portion it out into, baggies. Heat it up in the morning, put it in a bowl, and you are good to go. This is so good. Like in your mouth, you're like, what's happening here? Is this a pie? Are these oatmeal cookies? Are these oatmeal muffins? But just so I'm being clear, because we have just run through the entire breakfast sequence, this whole process has taken me 30 minutes, and that's including, like camera stuff. But if you are just starting out, the good thing about these recipes is that they can move as fast or as slow as you need them to be. If you just want to run right through everything and get it done like I prefer to do, you can do that. But if you're like, hey, I can cook on, this night and this night, but then maybe I want to get ahead, or like, hey, I'm going to pause and come back to this recipe. You can do that with this meal sequence. And this is our first time meeting. Hi, I'm Cassandra from the blog becomingafarmgirl.com, and I'm here to help you cook with what's in season, on sale, or better yet, already on your shelf. And you're going to want to click in the description box or in the link below to download your meal sequence grocery guide. Now don't get confused, because this is also going to include your dinner sequence too, because I figured, why not? All right, y'all, so this is the rest of that strawberry spinach compote that we made earlier. It is dark and it's rich and it's really tasting like a berry sauce. And so this is where things start to actually get fun, because I'm going to turn this into a super quick wellness breakfast. And I'm just going to scoop a bit of this into the jars. And then I'm just going to add in the supplements that I've been using lately as a bit of a targeted health plan. So things like moringa powder, which is packed full of antioxidants and supports hormone balance. And then I actually like leaving my scoops right in the jars. And then I also use this D-Chiro and cytosol, which is often used to support egg quality and insulin sensitivity and fertility health. And this is especially good for women who want to nourish their cycles or prep their bodies long term. And just so I'm super clear with this, y'all, this is not like sponsored. I paid for this out of our household budget. And these are just brands that my practitioner was familiar with and felt good about. And actually, a few of these are from brands that my friend Celeste was telling me about. So yeah. And then I'll add chlorophyll and spirulina powder. So both of these help with cell repair, detox, and energy. And then CoQ10, and my husband is actually enjoying these shakes too. But this is also good for cellular energy and cardiovascular health. And then I think it was this time last time, summer, y'all, that I started making my own kefir. I know I think it's pronounced like kefir, but just shorthand, I just say that. But I make my own like continuous batch. And now my kefir grains are so strong that I can move in between. Like sometimes I'll have like raw milk. I don't get that all the time just because it is pricey. But then I'll also use like just regular organic store milk that I'm buying. But basically, kefir is fermented milk. And then just like that, I have this very sweet, tangy, nutrient-dense breakfast. And I will just add my reusable lids onto this. So these are going to go right in the fridge. But one thing I like to do is I like to use these jar jackets. I've had these for years now. I got them on Amazon. I will try to remember to link them. I'm horrible at that, I know. But I do want to say, you want to get the ones that have these holes in here, just because like when you put these jar jackets on, and they're great for like just gripping your beverage so it doesn't slip out of your hand. These are also heat resistant as well. So sometimes when I pack leftovers in my jars, you can warm this up in the microwave, but then like hold your hot food, you know? But I like using the ones that have, use whatever brand you want, but like get something that has like some holes in it, just because the only way I can describe it is this. You know how like you try to get into your pantyhose and like you gotta like do that little shimmy? You gotta do that. And if you don't have these grips to like shimmy it up the jar, the ones that are just clear, it's a mess. It's a mess. So I don't know. There's my 2 cents. I am such a bag lady because I feel like I have my backpack and my purse, and then sometimes I'll have like my lunch bag and like just all of the things. And so I have been using these probably for the past year. I don't have like the biggest collection. I think I have like 6 of those and then maybe 4 of these. But you can also just like put these in the wash and they work great. So yeah, you can just slide your jar into here. It has this little jacket thing here. I'm not sure. I think this is just like cosmetic. But then like, isn't this so nice? Yeah, so you can carry it like this. Again, it keeps it cold and insulated. All this stuff could be like pre-assembled in like a berry flavor or whatever kind of thing. And it's like, no, I'm just going to use like real food. I can put this together myself. It doesn't take much time and it tastes delicious. Yeah, like chlorella and spirulina on its own, it can be kind of hard to choke down. But not with this. It's really good. All right, it is time to make lunch, and you know the routine. Grab your fridge bin.
And then I'm also bringing out our dinner meal prep bin.
All right, y'all, so you probably guessed it, but first we are going to be making a veggie wrap. So you'll want to grab whatever's remaining from your roasted veggie blend. So I still have some of our roasted potatoes and our chopped asparagus, carrots, and radishes. Now remember, the meat protein that we used this week for dinner was either like chicken or turkey, but I opted to use my home canned turkey breast, and so I still have some of that left too. All right, before we get too far along, I'm gonna go ahead and pour in some hot water, and this is going to be as I turn on the stove. I just cut my kettle on when I walked into the kitchen. But this is going to be for our soba noodle bowl. And then we're gonna grab at least one of your blocks of cream cheese. And you're gonna need a little bowl. So first we're gonna make our spinach and green onion spread. I only have like a paltry amount of spinach left because, yeah, what I'm growing, it's starting to get hot and I think I'm just probably going to be done. Although I have tried this new variety. It's Bloomsdale. I had a pocket of it and it is still doing fantastic. But I'll show that to you during the garden tour. And now we're just going to fold in our cream cheese. Okay, let's go ahead and give things a good stir. Thor, who are you selling wolf tickets to? So this creamy spread is amazing already with the spinach and the green onion, but this is where you can choose your own adventure. And I'm going to toss in some garlic and season with some smoked paprika, or like chipotle powder would be really good in here too. Yum. All right, let's stir that in. Oh, this smells divine. And speaking of preference, I'm gonna go ahead and add some of our fully cooked turkey to our spread. Now let's go ahead and fold this in. It's like a really quick chicken or turkey salad. And I'm gonna scoop some of our mixture into my reusable stasher bags. All right, so let me show you how I'm going to assemble this. I've had this bento box for 10 years. I love that it's stainless steel. It's the clasps that are here. Now, it's not leak proof. I mean, that's maybe the only drawback, but it is dishwasher safe. It doesn't retain stains or smells, and it has stood the test of time. In the top portion, I'm just going to add my fixins. So I'm gonna add some, or the fillings, I should say. So my potatoes in here, and carrots, asparagus, radishes, and this completes my top portion. So before I forget to say this, now earlier in the week, we actually roasted like an entire pan of vegetables like this. Now, could you roast everything again just now? Yes, for sure, right? It is not going to take you any time to just pop these in the oven and walk away. But for me, the only thing that I would really need to be cooked would be the potatoes, and they already are. Everything else is chopped up enough in pieces where it's going to be fine for me to get like a little bit of that crunch, but it's your preference. Now I'm showing you wraps, but of course these could be crackers or celery sticks or a raw bell pepper that you're going to stuff with this filling. There's lunch. But of course, when you go to make your wrap at work, it's going to look like this. Now, I typically have a 9.5 hour workday. And so when I get to lunch, it is important that I have something that is actually going to just keep me feeling full and my energy up. And I've realized over the years the importance of what I am eating and hydrating with throughout the day. And I am telling you, y'all, this is it. Now, this is just my version based off of the ingredients that I had left over from the week. I mean, we still had, you might have had extra like boiled eggs or the bacon that we used earlier or like whatever else it is. Oh my goodness, the gravy that we made for dinner would also be an excellent dipping sauce for this. But let me tell you, this is so good.
And the crazy thing is that my coworkers are ordering these wraps for like $20. That's it, you know? And so by the time I get finished eating something that has this much fiber and protein and calcium and vitamins, I am good to go. I'm full, but I'm not feeling heavy. And this is going to be, Laura just walked in the kitchen. And this is going to be a slow burn that's going to last me throughout the rest of the day. And then when I did the math, I think the cost of the wrap, like with everything, is like $1.25 per wrap. Come on now. Oh, one other thing. Oh, this is so good. Like, I love just the flavor combination. So I like to assemble my wraps, like, when I'm at work. I mean, you could go ahead and assemble it, but sometimes it, like, might get a little soggy. Do not forget that extra step of seasoning your cream cheese filling.
All right, y'all, let's go ahead and add our soba noodles to the pan. Let's go ahead and make our cashew dressing, which is going to be made right in the blender. So since we haven't soaked our nuts, we are going to add a little bit of warm water, like about a third of the way. A good squeeze of honey. Coconut aminos or some tamari. A bit of garlic. Maybe a little bit more. And then ginger. You can also use powdered ginger, but I do have fresh on hand. And a pinch of salt. Next, you're going to add a splash of rice vinegar. And give her a whirl. Now let's drop in our ramen. And y'all, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my hands so that I know. For me, I only discovered this stuff like a couple months ago. So I just want to show you what it looks like. Oh my goodness, look how convincing. Look how convincing this is with the noodles. Like the weight. So this is the linguine style. They also have it in spaghetti. But like, look at that. Look at that hang time and everything. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add this in. I'm gonna cut the heat and then add our peas and our carrots, radishes. All right, y'all, so we're about to drain this, but this is our soba noodle bowl. And y'all, this is excellent to eat cold. Okay. How well do you know me, and what am I about to say? Okay, so we are on to me. Yeah, so let's talk about this water that we just drained off. Do not just pour all of this flavor down the sink. So for one, I'm going to take some of this water. It's the perfect temperature. And I'm going to thin out the dressing that I just made with this flavored water, right? Like, why not? And then another thing I'm going to do is that once this completely cools, I am going to use this water just to pour directly into some of the pockets out of my garden that are growing leafy vegetables, because this water contains trace minerals and very mild starches that microbes love. All right, so this is what I'm feeding my wormies this week, and they are also going to love this. So I'm just going to add a couple of tablespoons to their weekly feeding, because this is more than enough for the 2 indoor bins that I have. Because again, I don't want to make their bin too soggy, and these strawberries are high hydration, so this is such a treat for them. I'm telling y'all that this soba noodle bowl does not disappoint. I mean, for starters, you've got antioxidants and fiber in every bite, which is excellent for combating inflammation and improving gut health. And then you've got your radishes and your asparagus, which are going to add that crunch. And then you have the cashew dressing, which is rich in healthy fats and anti-inflammatory properties thanks to the ginger. I mean, this is a nutrient-dense, crave-worthy salad. And as you saw, one of the things that I like to do, I mean, it keeps it cost-effective, but also it just adds to the flavor, is I will combine my noodles, right? So I won't just use all of my buckwheat noodles, which you could, like, you totally could, or just all of one type of pasta. But I really do just like getting all of those mixed in nutritive properties. Oh my goodness, this bowl is so good. Mmm. Mmm. Oh my goodness. The dressing just ties it in. It's creamy. It has that, like, the warmth from the ginger. And then you have, like, the sweet from the peas. I think that peas, like, have a sweet element to them. You have the crunch from, like, the radish that's adding a little bit of that zest. And the carrots. And the way that the noodles just come together, they're very cohesive in their taste. There's not, like, oh, like, this is that, this is that.
Now remember, this meal plan is not meant to add stress. It's here to help you cut through the chaos. And all these recipes are designed to roll effortlessly right into the other. So if you're out of spinach, kale is perfect. Out of pasta, brown rice steps right in. Cooking seasonally means that your meals are cheaper, they taste better, and your stress levels plummet because it gives you some guardrails. Now when you walk into the grocery store, it's like, okay, I'm focusing just on these particular food groups. It is smart, it's economical, and it's healthy. And in-season produce is going to be at the cheapest that you'll see it all year. And that's because it's abundant and likely near you and doesn't have to travel all over creation to get to you. Now look, I can't share all my secrets with you in one video, but that's why I paired this meal sequence with my own personal canning plan, right? Because I'm going to be canning from the list that I gave you, all of those like seasonal fruits and vegetables while the getting is good. Now look, store shelves and inventory may be low in the aluminum canned food aisle, but when you have a canner and jars, you own the means of production. So the fresh or frozen aisle is where it's at for you. So come on now, you've also got to use that list as your preservation plan, because in addition to eating it fresh, you need to think about, are you going to be canning some, freezing some, fermenting, dehydrating, whatever, so that you have enough to last when you can no longer source it inexpensively or grow it yourself. So there you have it, a meal plan that is nutrient dense and affordable. And might I add, doesn't require you to have a subscription service, clip coupons, or even a whole lot of time. Your only job is to follow this up with the dinner meal sequence. And maybe share this video or the downloadable grocery guide with someone who needs a little bit of breathing room. And I'll see you in my kitchen or garden soon. Take care, friends.